Hello and welcome to another episode of Chaos at London. This is the final month. Some people are doing some final things. Kai is looking to put right something that is very wrong, and he's going to start with his plans tonight. So, Kai, what are you doing?
All right. Well, tonight I am reaching out to Jason of the Hermetics. I was given a vision by a spirit that he had a number of that spirit's followers or shamans, whatever the term that's appropriate, as well as a dagger that in this case would be appropriate for Kai to recover given its ties to his culture.
How are you going to try and get a hold of Jason?
I believe Kai actually has his number.
I think he does, yeah. He's one of the few people that does.
That's so I'm just going to call him and ask if we can meet up to discuss a couple things, including some apprentices and acolytes that Jason had taken kind of some temporary wardship over.
Okay. Jason will pick up the phone and say, "Hey, what's up?"
Well, I've got a couple of matters I wanted to chat with you on, but first and foremost, I've had some dealings in the spirit realm that I think are relevant for you to be made aware of. They do concern a number of acolytes that you had taken wardship over for the time being, and indirectly may tie in a dagger that one of those acolytes is holding on to.
Okay, cool. Where do you want to meet up?
Well, I don't know if those acolytes have a place that they are gathering that would be appropriate, so I could address them directly as well, given they are individuals and not, poker chips for us to just pass around. Or if there's a neutral place, or if you want to round them up and bring them out to me, that would work too. I have a relatively secluded workspace.
I'll send you directions to a place. You can just meet me there.
Sounds good.
And he will send you directions to kind of you would know it to be kind of in a area, kind of a cavern.
Okay.
Out of character, this is where Kaelus's manor is.
Okay. Sure, so it's like his node wellspring?
Yeah.
Sure.
Are you stopping to get anything along the way, or nah?
I'm gonna make sure I got my familiar and see if there's anything else specific I might need. I'll take my hammer, given it's kind of part of his faith and practice as well. But I'm not going to take the dagger or sword because I don't want to give the wrong impression.
Right.
So I shouldn't need anything else that I can think of.
If that is it, you can go along your merry way to the place.
All right.
So you find yourself within this cavern type area. There's oddly enough a manor sitting inside of it. You can feel the pulsing of possibly a node or something very much like it coming from deep within the manor. And there's a lot of people in kind of robes standing around outside tending to gardens or fixing things up, as it were, along with a kind of beat up minivan just sitting outside, like very out of place. A blue hoodie wearing teenager sitting in the driver's seat.
All right. I'm going to start at the minivan. Given he looks somewhat out of place, I'm going to assume that's the guy I'm looking for.
The guy sitting in the minivan just kind of rolls down the window as he approaches and says, "Hey, what's up?" And as you get closer, you can notice he's glowing blue slightly.
Glowing blue slightly.
Yeah.
Do I recognize him?
I don't think you've seen him yet, now.
Okay. Then I will ask if he knows where I might find Jason.
Oh yeah, I think he went up into the house.
Fair enough. I will head to the house then. Ask him if, or thank him for his assistance.
Yep, no problem. As you walk away, he'll roll up the window and you'll hear the muffled sounds of power metal being played from the speaker system. Some of the robed figures kind of watching you as you're walking up to the house. The front door has been left slightly ajar.
All right. Well, I'm going to, I'll open the door, but I kind of knock on the jamb once it's open to announce myself and step inside.
Okay, 1 second. The dog was making a weird noise, so I was checking on him. Sorry about that. As you walk inside after knocking on the door, Jason will be in there sitting in a kind of front parlor-esque room. He's sitting on a couch. He gestures at a chair and says, "Hey, what's up?"
He says, well, he kind of looks around. He says, we're going to assume the people outside are the ones where the acolytes in question. But
Yep.
I'm given to understand that you are familiar with the situation surrounding the spirit that this group was mentored to support, or however you want to look at it.
Somewhat, yeah. I wasn't, like, there, but the spirit that they followed did kind of eat a hermetic chantry at one point.
Well, that, I don't know all the details on the spirit in question, at least in its past dealings, although I know some. I do, however, know the details of the spirit currently. And I'm going to assume that some of them at least still hold some sort of tradition for following to that spirit.
So could you repeat that real quick?
I don't know all the details surrounding the spirit's past actions, but I do know its current whereabouts. I further know that, as I'm sure some of those followers still maintain their support or worship or whatever the appropriate term would be, that further instruction into the spirit might be more appropriate, or at least desired.
So where do you think it is then?
He looks at him and he says, I know quite well where he is because I helped him get there. He's currently residing. Well, he may be in Asgard, otherwise it's likely that he is in Valhalla itself, given he has taken up the mantle of Odin.
Jason will just kind of blink twice. Is he still eating things constantly?
I do not believe he was ever eating things constantly. I believe he was eating things because it was a reflection of the desires of his follower. A follower who did not know how to give him direction.
So what you're saying is minimal chance he's going to eat important things now.
I am going to say that the things he does devour now are intended to be devoured, and that is his purpose.
Fair enough.
The devouring of bystanders or other things was due to the hubris of his follower.
Yeah, fair enough. So how did you come about this information, if you don't mind me asking?
He kind of gestures to his eye and says, well, first I encountered the spirit. Helped it avoid destruction because I recognized its potential as an ally. I then addressed it, and it explained to me the relationship it had with its former follower, whatever term you want to use. Given the nature of that, I recognized the problems in that relationship, that he had been alternating between being worshipped unfailingly and being treated like a servant. Neither of which is going to be beneficial or appropriate. Given that state, I set out to guide him on creating a healthier relationship with him, one in which he was respected as a partner. Then I gouged out my eye and hung myself in a quest for wisdom, and ended up at the World Tree itself.
He takes a second, grabs the glass from the table, says, yeah, alright, fair enough, and then takes a long drink from it.
Having done so, I then approached, or was approached, I should say, by the Great Spirit Nidhogg, who explained the situation of Odin missing his spear, which was the last vestiges of his power, being somewhere on this world, and it needing to be recovered. I made arrangements to recover it, brought it back, and pointing out to the spirit that, or to the serpent, that he lacked someone to take up the mantle of Odin and harness that power. He risked perpetuating the problems. At which point I recommended the totem spirit, as a suitable replacement. It was a spirit that had already quested for knowledge, had a wide and diverse knowledge already. and had understood the idea of paying prices for wisdom. Ultimately, his previous follower learned that lesson, albeit just far too late. At that point, it was agreed upon, and he took up the mantle of Odin, at which point meant he had significantly more things to do than simply to stand with me individually. But that doesn't mean he's not still present or available to be reached should it be necessary.
Fair enough. So what's the plan now?
Well, I have to assume at least some of that group of followers would wish to maintain their relationship with the spirit, which it seems appropriate if they're going to do so, that they do so with the knowledge and understanding of the spirit's current whereabouts and current aspect.
Right.
So I think it appropriate to approach them and see if they wish to learn more of this spirit and learn the correct and healthy way to have a relationship with the spirit, one in which neither party takes advantage of the other. Additionally, it seems to me that some of these, one of these, carries a dagger. That dagger was fashioned from the shards of the World Tree. It was indeed imbued by Nidhogg himself. So it seems appropriate that that be turned over. I can, should this need to be validated further, he kind of lifts his cloak a little bit for his familiar to kind of peek out, and he says, I have here a sliver of Nidhogg in aspect, or
Right. Go look at the little spirit. I like him.
I mean, we could go meet with Nidhogg himself if you feel it necessary too, but
I try to limit my time in the Umber Realms, to be honest. I pissed off a major spirit a few years ago, and I'd rather stay out, just to be on the safe side. That being said, well, he'll look at the spirit and see. So, is there anything he said that isn't true as far as Zero? The spirit, the little Nidhogg serpent will confirm what Kai has said. Jason will nod. Say, all right. So, do you have an end goal in mind for this? Is there something that I haven't heard that needs to be dealt with? Or
well, first and foremost would be those who are interested to come with me either today or when they are ready, or at least make them aware that the opportunity is there to be instructed further into the faith and relationship with Odin. I also have a mystical endeavor, at which point they would be supporting me in that. And that would be where the dagger comes in. There's a entity. Don't know all the details of exactly what type of entity, but one that manipulates and controls the dead, going by the term the Grave Lord. I intend to confront it and eliminate it, as it is a abomination and abuse of power. That which dies should return to the cycle and be reborn. That is their fate and their Veard. And to interfere with that is to attempt to interfere in things beyond even the gods. For even the gods are bound by fate.
Yeah, the Great Lord seems like a problem.
Well, when I conflicted with him previously, my hammer did seem to interfere in his power, probably due to its inherent flame-like abilities. It doesn't truly burn, but something similar like it. I was able to wound it. I have a portion of its essence that I have held. And I believe that with the dagger as well, a direct conflict, I could best it.
What kind of hammer is it, if you don't mind me asking?
Kai's hammer is like a smith hammer.
Yeah, Jason is asked still like asked to see it.
Kai pulls it out and holds it in front of him and says it's was my own work. Indeed, I forged it before I knew what I was doing. I crafted it in a surge of power and manipulation of fate.
That's... I mean, it can be used as one, but that is not a weapon.
It is not. It's meant to be a tool of creation, but with creation comes the need to reshape that which exists now.
What I'm trying to get at, you said it seemed affected by the fire, but what if that's too obvious? What if it's more so affected by things or tools of creation? What if that's its antithesis?
Well, if it is the Grave Lord and creation is indeed its opposite, then I imagine a dagger intended to remove the undead would still be somewhat effective. But a tool of creation would make sense as well.
All I'm saying is powerful beings such as that, if it is that truly powerful, don't always abide by simple rules. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's why simple destruction wouldn't likely be effective.
Mm-hmm.
However, you bring up an interesting point. In a direct conflict, a victor has the remains of the loser. Should the victor then consume or somehow absorb or join themselves with the power that remains, they are in fact creating something new, whether they intend to or not. Thus, such a ritual would in fact rig the conflict against him.
Mm-hmm.
Because even in a loss, he would be creating. And the outcome would not be him anymore.
Right.
Thus, the support of these those who wish to learn the ways of Odin would aid there. To prep said ritual and prep myself for the conflict. And when the conflict were over, whoever won, the remaining entity would not be the Grave Lord, but would in fact be something that had been created from that essence and my own.
Right.
I recognize it as somewhat of a risk, but it seems fairly calculated. And as I said, it seems as though I'm doing my best, at least, to rig the game.
Really, that's the best you can do. That's the best any of us can do. In pure power, we're pretty outclassed with a lot of the things that we contend with on a regular basis. At least I am. I don't know. I won't speak for you, obviously. So just rig it. Do the best you can. Know when to fold it and run away.
Anyone who's manipulating fate in one way or another is already cheating. If we're going to cheat, we should probably do so intelligently.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that would be the ultimate end goal. The dagger and the followers are hopefully keys to help rig this situation against him. I suspect an open conflict and the opportunity to garner power will appeal to him. He seemed a prideful being.
Yeah. Fair enough. Do what you gotta do. If I can help in any way, let me know.
Well, I imagine I'll go through here and tell these members here, these acolytes, the abridged tale that of or abridged version of the tale I just told you, and those who wish to join me shall, and we'll go from there. Should you wish to be involved in the ritual casting step we use to prep myself and to prep the situation, I'm sure we can arrange something, but otherwise the best I can ask for is to hope that the fates are with us.
Oh, I wish you the best of luck. Feel free to use this area for your preparations, and you're more than welcome to talk to the quote-unquote groupies out there.
Well, I will approach them, gather them. I may gather some essence from here, but I have my own, appropriately enough, my own forge where I intend to work the preparations, as I also have those on the other side that are interested in supporting this endeavor. Turns out those with mystical know-how who have passed to the other side still can offer support and aid if you create the appropriate environment.
I think something can be worked out. Do what you gotta do there.
Kai will give him kind of it's a respectful bow, but not necessarily deferential. It's just kind of a between equals type. And he will then head outside to the acolytes and go around to them. If they're already naturally grouped up, he'll talk to them as a group, but if they're individual, he'll talk to them one-on-one. And kind of just tell them the story of how he met the totem and what how the totem came to be Odin, and ask if they wish to continue following the spirit as Odin, and if so, that he'd be happy to guide them.
So they're kind of all milling about outside. You can give me a charisma expression or charisma leadership roll to kind of give a speech to them.
All right. Take a look here. Could I use manipulation and expression if I present it as a sort of a skaldic chant epic in the traditional fashion?
Sure.
Would my eloquent specialty apply?
I'd allow it, yeah.
So go on the approach that I'm going to basically tell them the tale as like a traditional Norse saga would be. Standard diff?
Yes.
Or my dice codes because we're not in. 3 successes.
Alright, 3 successes. A bunch of them are listening to you very attentively. In what language did you do that?
I would have still done it in English.
Okay.
On the assumption that that's what most of them spoke.
Okay. So you'll get quite a few to listen to you. Some of them will start to listen and then go back to doing what they were doing, but a good about 65 to 70% seem to be listening very attentively.
All right. So after kind of telling them the story of how I met the totem and how he became became Odin and how we established the relationship we did, I'm going to invite any who want to learn more of Odin and how to how to have a relationship with him, that they can come to my sanctum, which is Wayland Smithy, the historic stone smithy. And as well as I will ask if well, I guess first off, make it easy. I'm going to activate my prime site.
Okay.
I'm not going to activate my prime site. So I will ask if I don't know their names, but if the two apprentices who had studied directly under their former leader are present.
They'll step forward.
We will look at them and say, of all of you, the two of you were the most disrespected and the most manipulated. You were disrespected because you were taught a self-serving approach. You were used rather than guided. Your own potentials ignored in favor of what was best for the one that you trusted to guide you. The rest of these individuals also will look to you more than any other. I invite the two of you to study directly with me, to commune directly with the spirits themselves. Spirits of ancestors and fallen, long gone. Spirits of the gods themselves. And I'll kind of pull my cloak back so that the tiny Nidhogg can kind of peer over my shoulder. Or perch on my shoulder if he wishes. And say, the spirits and the gods are, while they may be greater or more potent than us, they are not all-powerful. They do not need us to grovel or bow. They need us to treat them with respect, to hold fast to their virtues.
Give me a charisma expression roll.
Sure. I got 3 successes.
Okay. They'll kind of look at each other, and then one of them will nod and they'll say, we will follow you and attempt to put right where we have gone wrong.
He nods and he says, you have with you a dagger that was given into your keeping as well. That dagger is a direct connection to the realms of the gods. It is also a potent tool to ensure that the proper cycle of life, death, and rebirth occurs. If you bring it with me, or with you, when you come to join me, it will aid us in developing your connection with the other side.
We can get you the dagger.
He nods, and he says, and he's going to say this louder so that everyone can hear him. You say, the invitation is open to any and all who wish to deepen their connection to the spirits, the ancestors, and the gods. I am not here to be master or leader. I am here to invite each and every one of you, and I will do so as a friend and a mentor and a guide. But I don't seek servants. I don't seek people to follow. For those who wish, seek me at Wayland's Smithy, and you can begin to forge your own path, to find your own fate, and to see the ways of the gods and the Veered. And he kind of nods, and we'll turn and head towards the house again.
They'll let you go. What are you gonna do in the house?
What's that?
What are you gonna do in the house? What are you planning on doing? In the
He was just gonna pass through, and if Jason was there, let him thank him again for his time and for the assistance, and let him know that he plans to begin preparations immediately.
Okay. Yeah, Jason will be kind of packing up his stuff. Most of it things that you hadn't seen during your brief conversation with him. He'll look at me and be like, "Everything good?"
I think that I made my point as clearly as I can, made sure that they're aware of the opportunity and what I can offer, and if they choose to take it or not, that will be up to them. I intend to start my preparations shortly. I will probably rest and gather those others who support me as well. And once preparations are complete, I will prepare my set out for this confrontation.
Alright, well, best of luck. If there's anything I can do to further help, let me know.
I will keep that in mind. I think I'm about as well set as I'm going to be. There seems to be a fair amount of essence here. I will encourage the apprentices and the acolytes to maintain that carefully as a sacred space. But beyond that, I don't have anything else. I think I've done all I can here. Unless you have anything else that you feel would require my attention.
Can't think of anything.
Well, as long as you have the rest of this. And he kind of looks around at the property and he says, "This shrine to self-indulgence and self-worship. But if you have the rest of this in hand, I will take my leave."
Best of luck.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I think at this point, it's up to the fates.
Okay. I think we can end it there for tonight, unless there's anything else you wanted to get done.
No, that should do it.
Alright. So thank you for playing. Thank you, Future Watchers, for watching. This has been another episode of Chaos in London.